Good evening and welcome to our customer partnership event today on the 20th of April 2021. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Dassos and I'm the Executive Director Customer Relations at Silva Homes. I wish I was able to meet you all face to face this evening, but unfortunately we are doing things remotely once more. So hopefully this will be the last time we have to do it through a webinar, and we will be back in the room at the next customer event. Now you might think it was quite strange for me to mention the date in my introduction. The reason for that is we will be putting a recording of this webinar on our website tomorrow for customers to watch over the next few days. And so just so it doesn't cause any confusion, by saying that it's the 20th of April means that all of the information that we're sharing tonight is accurate as up until today. So we've got quite a lot to cover this evening, and there'll be a few of my colleagues coming on throughout the next hour to present. I will hand over shortly to our Chief Executive, Alan, who's going to give you an update on what's been happening from a business perspective since the last webinar, and also some of what's happening in the future as lockdown restrictions ease and how we want to get back to some kind of normal operation again. We've then got a recording from Nahid, the chair of our Customer Partnership Board, who's going to share the work that the Customer Partnership Board has been doing with us over the last year. Then I'm going to come back on and share with you the results from the customer satisfaction survey that took place in November, which some of you may have taken part in. And then what we really want to spend some time on is the strategic review, which we're undertaking at the moment as a business. Now, Alan will come on to explain what it is, but really what we want, how we want you to be involved, and it is a great opportunity for you to be involved with us as we shape this moving forward. There's then going to be a chance for questions and answers before we close the session. So we've had some questions submitted in advance already, but also if throughout the next hour there is anything we say you think of a question, then you can put that into the chat box that's on your screen, and that'll come through to us, and we will try and get through as many as we can this evening. If we don't get through all of the questions, then we'll contact you individually after this anyway to give you our responses. So I hope you find what we're about to share with you informative, and I will now invite Alan to come onto the screen, and then once he's here I will nip out and I will be back in a little while.
Hi, hello everybody. As Dassos said, it's been a while since our last customer event. I think the last one we did was at the end of the summer. Personally, I can't wait to get back to normal and we can get back to doing them as soon as possible in person. The pandemic obviously has dominated everything that we've been doing for the last year or so, and it quite honestly has probably been the most challenging year of my career, and I've been around for quite a few years. Trying to keep a business running under lockdown rules has been really difficult. Almost all of our office-based colleagues have been working from home. Our offices have been closed to the public, and only a handful of people have been allowed in to the building to do essential work. Now, some of that's starting to change. Last week, we allowed a few more people to return to the office, but nothing like the level we had before. And we, like many other businesses, are starting to think about how we will work in the future and how to make the best use of the space that we've got there. Now, we have always tried through the whole year to do our best to keep services for customers running as best we can. Now, that hasn't always been possible working within the government's guidelines. We also have a duty to keep colleagues and customers safe. And at times, we have really struggled with capacity issues. We've had people off sick for obvious reasons. We've had people who've been shielding and not able to go to work. And we've had people who've been self-isolating because they've been in contact with someone who's had the virus. And so we have tried at times to bring in contractors to support us, but unfortunately it meant that certainly during the first lockdown and in this latest lockdown, we've had to restrict routine repairs. That is massively frustrating. It's massively frustrating for you, but it's also frustrating for us because it just means we build up a massive backlog of work, that we've then got to try and tackle. Now, the priority during both of those periods has been to do emergency repairs and safety compliance works, and also we've been able to do some outdoor work as well. We've kept things like grounds maintenance going, and I'm really proud of the hard work and dedication that colleagues on the front line have shown during the last year. But I am more so grateful for the patience that the vast majority of our customers have shown when we've not been able to do what you want us to do when you want it done. Now, the good news is that from tomorrow, 21st of April, you'll be able to start booking repairs again. Now, we have got a backlog to get through. We will have to prioritise those repairs that were still outstanding in January and those that are needed by our most vulnerable customers. But we will get through them all as soon as we can. Please bear with us. Our independent living customers have been particularly hard hit during this time, having spent such long periods restricted to their flats, not able to use the communal spaces, not able to mix with each other, or even go out too much to see family and friends. And our colleagues who work in these schemes have done a fantastic job keeping customers safe, not only doing their job looking after the security of the building, but the well-being of customers as well as best they can. Now, I know things are starting to ease. We've opened up some of the outdoor spaces in those schemes and made them available for customers to sit in small groups of no more than 6. And I really hope that very soon we'll be able to get back to normal. Now, the other thing is we know this pandemic has really hit many of our customers very, very hard, not just in terms of physical health or mental well-being, but also financially. And the stress of losing your livelihood, being placed on furlough, being restricted in what you can do by way of a job, and for many people as well, just having your children at home from school has been a real challenge for many of our customers. Now, we can provide you with help and help you manage your rent and get access to benefits and other forms of support. And I think what's real testament to the ability of our teams is that during this last year, we've been able to avoid rent arrears increasing significantly, something we were really wary about at the start of last year, but we've only ended up at the end of the year marginally higher than we were 12 months ago. So what's really important is to ask for help early, because we can do that for you, and work with us if you do get into difficulties. And I hope that you can see by virtue of those figures that how hard we've worked over the last year to help people avoid or manage their debt. Now, turning to repairs and maintenance, we have not been able to do as much indoors in customers' homes over the last year. So things like our kitchen and bathroom program has fallen behind for obvious reasons. But we made up ground with the roofing program. So we've done more re-roofing this year than we would have done normally, and other outdoor works. We've been able to get on with those as well. And we've also been able to get to grips with our building safety program. Now, we've spent in total over the last year more than £10 million on planned works and improvements to customers' homes. But on that particular point of safety, I just want to take this opportunity to say that we do as a landlord have to carry out checks for gas, electrics, fire and asbestos in customers' homes. And some of them we do every year, like gas, others we do over different timescales, like electric safety is done every 5 years. But it is really important that you let us in to do these checks and then carry out any remedial works that might be required. Believe it or not, we still have a few hundred customers who will not engage with us for some of these safety checks, despite us repeatedly requesting and even incentivizing people. So over the next few months, we will be taking stronger action to gain access. It is a shame that we have to do that, but not allowing us in to do these checks or the work that we need to do is putting them, their families, and actually their neighbours as well at risk. The other thing that got hit during the pandemic was our programme for new homes. It slowed right down at the beginning of the year. It's caught back up a bit, but we have missed our targets this year and only delivered around 100 new homes, which is about less than half that we expected at the beginning of the 12 months. Despite the lockdown, I'm really pleased to say we've now completed the refurbishment of Ivy Court in Bracknell. Customers have moved in after significant extensive works to their flats. And we've also been able to progress redevelopment at Bay House and Barn Close in Bracknell. And on both of those sites, the community consultation starts very soon on our plans for the new buildings that will be put in their place when they're demolished. Now, finally, I just want to reassure all of our customers that we remained very focused on keeping the business strong and healthy. We retained our top regulatory judgment during the year for governance and financial viability, which is really pleasing. We have a board of non-executives who work with me and my executive team, and we remain committed to ensuring that as a social business, we make the best use of our resources to keep existing homes in good order, keep you, our customers, safe, deliver excellent services, and build as many new homes as we can. And to be able to do that, we must ensure we exercise sound financial management, we deliver value for money, we employ skilled and committed colleagues, and we make ethical business decisions. Now, we have invested significant amounts over the last 2 to 3 years in transforming the business into the Silva Homes that it is today, one that can be trusted, but we do know that we've got more to do. There are a lot of challenges ahead. The world has changed. The operating environment for us is significantly different to that it was 12 months ago. So towards the end of this webinar, I'm going to come back and talk to you some more about our plans for the next 5 years.
So as I said at the beginning with the programme, got a short video now from Naheed, who chairs our Customer Partnership Board. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Customer Partnership Board, the Customer Partnership Board consists of 9 customers, and their core purpose is to, there's 2 elements to it. The first is really to work with the board and with the executive team on large strategic and policy issues, with a particular focus on how they may affect customers, because we want to make sure that customers are always at the forefront of decisions that are made. And the second element is that when new processes or there's new customer-facing decisions being made, that again they hold us to account and the board to account to make sure that we've used appropriate insight to inform those recommendations. So Naheed is going to, again, the work with the Customer Partnership Board has not slowed down over the last 12 months because of COVID. We've had to change the way we work, and the meetings have been held virtually, like this one. But Naheed will explain what we've covered during this period.
My name is Naheed, and I am the Chairperson of Customer Partnership Board at Silva Homes. Customer Partnership Board is a group of customers who work with the Silva Board and the executive team in 2 ways. Firstly, we help Silva's leadership in decision making on key issues. Secondly, we direct the way Silva engages with its customers and makes decisions that affect customers, their homes, and the communities that they live in. I am pleased to say that despite of the lockdown restrictions, we did not have to reduce the number of the times we met this year. Before I go on to tell you about the past 12 months and all the work that CPB has undertaken, I would like to introduce you to 3 new members who joined us recently. Karen, Ibi, and Neil joined CPB team, and they have already made a very valuable contribution to the work of the CPB board. As you know, Silva has gone through a lot of changes in the last few years. Much of the Customer Partnership Board's work has been reviewing its customers facing policies. Silva has more than 50 policies that focus on tenancy, customer insight, environmental services, and rent. So we have been busy reviewing them all and making sure that they are fair, transparent, and easy to understand. You can read all the key policies on Silva's website. Last summer, we were involved in a consultation regarding items left in communal areas. Silva asked its customers for their views on the process, and then we made sure the new procedure reflected what customers wanted. The annual customer survey took place in November. We helped with writing the questions. Once the result came out, we went through them all with Silva's executive board and agreed to focus on the plans to improve customer satisfaction this year. Dastos is going to share some of the results with you this evening. One of the areas highlighted in the customer survey was the cleaning and caretaking services that some Silva customers receive. We helped a member of Silva's leadership team carry out a consultation to help us understand exactly what customers wanted. As a result, a new cleaning specification was created. A new schedule went live in April to make the services more consistent. We will be reviewing the success of this after 6 months to see if it makes the difference that we are hoping for. The Housing Ombudsman brought in a new complaints code last year, and housing associations had to complete a self-assessment to show whether or not they were compliant. The Customer Partnership Board reviewed Silva's self-assessment to make sure it was accurate and contained evidence for each part. The Ombudsman Code and the self-assessments are both available on Silva website if you want to see them for yourself. We want Silva Homes customers represented fully, so we will be joining sessions with Silva's board and also with the executive team to help improve the strategic plan that Alan has just outlined and presented. It has been great experience to have insight and involvement in Silva's decision making. Finally, I would just like to take this opportunity to thank all the Customer Partnership Board members for their hard work this year. It has not been easy to have very long virtual meeting. A big thank you to everyone who has taken part in a consultation, focus group, or responded to a survey. Hearing what other Silva customers think and care about helps us to make decisions, so we really value your feedback. I am looking forward to seeing you all at the next event when hopefully we will be able to meet in person. Thank you very much.
So some of the things that Nahid mentioned, I'll cover now because Nahid talked about the Customer Partnership Board's involvement on our annual customer survey. So we commissioned an independent company called IFF Research, who did the last annual survey in 2019 to carry out a similar telephone survey with our customers in November last year to see how they feel about us 1 year on. There was a big debate right across the industry whether you should survey customers during a pandemic and what results you'd hope to see. But for us, it was really important that actually we understood where customers were satisfied, where there were areas for improvement, and so we did that telephone survey. So over 1,000 interviews were completed in November, which is a really strong representation of our customer base, and from that we can draw out some really meaningful conclusions. The survey questions broadly stayed the same because what we wanted to do was really draw conclusions from and trends from 1 year to the next. So the results and the key highlights are that overall satisfaction, despite operating during a pandemic and operating the way Alan explained in his update, is that the overall satisfaction remains high. And the majority of customers, 78% who responded, are satisfied with Silva Homes. Now, this is a small decrease on overall satisfaction from the previous year when we achieved 82%, which doesn't come as a surprise considering the environment we've been operating in. In fact, the Institute of Customer Service that reports on customer satisfaction across all industries said that during the pandemic, customer satisfaction has declined in the last 12 months back to the level seen in 2015. So it is affecting all sectors. But when we look about how we compare to other housing providers, we compared ourselves with 31 other providers, and we're in line with the average. The average is 79%. Like I say, we came out at 78%, so within a percent difference. And the other housing providers have followed the same trend as us, which is a decline from 2019 to 2020. Now, what we've been able to take from the report is that overall customer satisfaction is heavily influenced by the repairs experience. So when we carry out a repair, We communicate well from when the repair is booked right through to when the operative turns up, and that it's carried out by great colleagues leads to high customer satisfaction. It's the biggest element that contributes to that. And I'll talk about that in a bit more detail later on. Most customers, 84%, are satisfied with the quality of their home, and this is very consistent with the figure that we saw the previous year. And nearly 9 in 10 customers agree that we provide a home that is safe and secure. So on the flip side of that, in particular repairs, where there are lengthy delays, where communication is poor, and where we don't keep our promises, then customer satisfaction is low. Other areas that scored an average result that we weren't happy with and want to look at is that customers mentioned that where we provide a cleaning and caretaking service in communal areas, there could be improvements there. And also, when we looked at the different demographics of the customers that were responding, we were able to spot that younger customers scored lower in their satisfaction than other age groups. So it's great having all this data and information, and it's what we are now doing with that to make some improvements and respond to it. So Nahid said that the reports have been shared with the Customer Partnership Board. We absolutely did that. We've also shared the results with the Silva Board, and we've taken all colleagues in the business through these results as well. And we've really identified 3 key areas that we think will make the biggest improvements for our customers over the next 12 months. So, not surprisingly with what I've already said, repairs. When a repair is done first time and it's an easy process, then customers are satisfied. When follow-on works are required and our team or our contractors are unable to complete the repair on that first visit, then communication suffers and delays occur. So we've already started, we did the survey back in November, so we've already been able to start on some of these improvements. We're focusing on making improvements to the follow-on repairs process. We're working with various teams across the business to say, actually, if a repair can't be completed on that first visit, then what are the next steps? How do we keep customers communicated and updated? And what's the speed and time for that repair to take place? Nahid mentioned in her update that we've just completed a consultation with customers on the cleaning and caretaking in communal areas. What we wanted to look at is actually was the frequency and the specification for the cleaning and communal areas good enough? And following the feedback that we've received, we've put new schedules in place. We've now got dedicated operatives for specific areas and a clear specification of what standards customers can expect from us. And this went live on the 1st of April. Full details are on our website if you want to read that. And what we're going to do is I've been out and about to see some of our properties and see the improvements already. And we're going to survey customers again in 6 months to see actually have those improvements made a difference, have customers noticed them, and we'll share those results with our Customer Partnership Board. And the third area is we've, again, the last couple of weeks, just implemented a new system in our Customer Contact Hub. Does a lot of things, but one of the things that's most relevant here is it will set reminders for the teams to follow up on customer queries that we receive and respond when we say we will. And it will allow the managers to monitor that we are doing what we say we're going to do. There was a lot of comments around us not getting back to customers when we say we will, or actually when there's a complaint that actually it's not an easy process. And this system will absolutely help us get better at doing that in these circumstances. It'll improve the communication between our teams, our customers, and I really believe it will remove the need for customers to chase us for the updates. And I also mentioned that our younger customers were less satisfied than other age groups. Now, we don't know the reasons for that. So what we're going to be doing is running a series of focus groups with customers in this age group to understand the reasons for that. And then once we've got some more information, we'll implement those improvements as well, depending on what comes through. So in a 12 months of challenging circumstances and the operation being as it was, we can see that customer satisfaction has broadly stayed in line with where it was the previous year, which is testament to the hard work that our colleagues have done and also how understanding customers have been during these circumstances. I don't think there's any surprises in what came through. It's almost just reinforced what we thought and give us now that real drive to make those improvements in those areas. And we've already started to adjust some of those services in response to that. Saying that, it's not an excuse. I don't want to say that all of these the dip in satisfaction, slight dip, was because of the pandemic and we haven't moved forward as quick as we wanted to be. We don't want to just be in line with other housing providers. We don't want to be in the average. We really want to be as good as we can be and have a much higher score than that moving forward. So it's highlighted for us key areas of focus that we think we can get on with straight away and will improve customer satisfaction. Very much around communication with repairs and complaints, improving our standards in communal areas, and engaging with younger customers to understand their needs better as well. So it's really great having a year-on-year comparison. It's a great volume of responses to really give us some insight into how customers feel about us and the areas for improvements. And so we will get on with these actions, as I've said we will do, and we will complete another annual survey around the same time in November to again see the impacts these changes have had. And if there's still more that we need to do, then we will do that. And if there's other areas that come through that we need to focus on, then this is the sort of chain that we're going to start getting into so that we don't sort of rest on our laurels and we're always looking at the improvements that we can make. So I hope that's been interesting. I hope it's maybe sparked some questions and you're busy on the chat now asking me certain things about the customer satisfaction. But that's an overview of where we are from the last set of results. So we're doing well for time this evening, and really that's been a lot at the moment of updates for you to hear how we are as a business. Now I'm going to invite Alan back to the webinar to really say what's happening moving forward and actually how we want your input into shaping our strategic review. So hopefully Alan is there. Brilliant. And I will come back after this session when we go into the question and answers. So thanks, Alan.
Okay, thanks, Tassos. I've got my glasses on now because I'm going to have to read a few bits out, including some dates and stuff. So bear with me. As Tassos said, I wanted to use this opportunity to tell you a little bit about the work we're doing to develop our new corporate strategy. The one we currently have, the one we developed in 2018, that has helped us deliver significant change as a business, but we do know there's a lot more to do. We want to reset our plans, taking into account how much our external operating environment has changed in the last year. And most importantly, I think for us to have a strategy that starts from the business we are now rather than the one we were 3 years ago, which was quite different. It does mean building on the successes we've had and seeing what more we can do. So as part of that, we're going to be launching a new Silva strategy, which will take us to 2025, and that will be launched in the summer. And I'm going to tell you now a little bit more about our thinking and how you can have a say in that process. Now, before I do that, I want to tell you about the work that the board of Silva Homes has been doing with our senior leadership group. And as part of that work, we've reshaped our vision and our objectives for the new Silva strategy. Now, our vision is our headline statement in our new corporate strategy, the Silva strategy, and that will guide what we do over the next 4 years to take us up to 2025. These things are really hard to do, to make them easy to understand and accessible for as many people as possible. But at the end of the day, it's a statement that tries to recognize where we are now, the scale of our ambition, what we see as important, and how we want to be seen as an organization in 2025. So I'm going to read it out now, but it'll be available tomorrow up on our website, so you'll be able to have a look at it in more detail then. So our reshaped vision is building trust as a thriving social business by creating safe and secure places to live, delivering excellent services to customers, forging strong and successful relationships, embracing diversity, sustainability, and growth. Now, we have kept trust as central to that vision. It is in there now. It's part of our vision as it currently is in our current plan, and that hasn't changed. It is something that others will judge us on. So for us, engaging with our customers and other stakeholders through this process, and as we deliver our strategy, is really critical to our success. Now, we've identified 8 priority themes for us to focus on when we develop our and deliver our strategy. And they are customers and communities, including older people, new affordable homes, existing homes, including building safety, climate change, colleagues and culture, equality, diversity and inclusion, technology and new ways of working, and financial viability, governance, and value for money. So I'm going to say a little bit about each one of those now and tell you at the end how you can get involved. So, building on what Dasos was talking about just now, we want over the next 4 years to fully develop the customer service model that we have been developing over the last couple of years. We want to make sure that the relationship management that we've built into our structures really does work in practice, and it's been quite hard to do that over the last year. We've also committed to increasing our investment in communities, and we'll be targeting £1 million over the next 3 years on projects that will add value to our customers in the communities where we work. Next, like many social landlords, we see it as a fundamental part of our social purpose to use the surpluses we make, and remember we're a not-for-profit organisation, so there's no money flows out of the organisation. We reinvest all the surpluses we make each year, and we want to do that to support investment in as many new affordable homes as we can to help tackle the housing crisis in the areas where we work. And in the areas where we work, it is particularly acute. Average house prices are at least 10 times average earnings. Now, we're going to maintain our ambition to build 1,100 new homes over a 5-year period, a mix of homes to rent, on social rents or affordable rents, and also homes for shared ownership where customers can part buy, part rent, and can then staircase up to full ownership when they can afford to do so. Now, in terms of our existing stock, a lot of it is aging and will do every year, and that requires a lot of investment. And in a small number of cases, redevelopment, as I mentioned earlier, in places like Bay House and Farm Close. We've already significantly increased the amount we invest in existing homes. In the last 3 years, we've increased it by over 25%, and that will continue. And as I said earlier as well, building safety, or perhaps more importantly described as customer safety, is very, very high up on our list of priorities, and we'll continue to invest in the surveys and the remedial works necessary to meet our legal and regulatory duties as a landlord. Now, I mentioned climate change, and decarbonising our business is another very high priority. We know that we've got a lot to do because we've got to contribute towards meeting the government's net zero target by 2050, and in order to do that we have to invest sooner rather than later. It's no point leaving it until the last 10 years because we won't get there, and we've got to do that to contain the damage that is occurring through climate change. Now, we already know, because we've done the research, that over 90% of the carbon we produce as a business is attributable to the properties we rent to customers. So how are we going to start doing this? Well, for the next 3 years, we've agreed to invest £1 million in research and development to help us try out new technologies and new building solutions to see what can work best. Now, we're not going to do this on our own. Social landlords all over the country are having to work together to find the best solutions they can. But we'll also need to work closely with customers to make sure that the solutions we come up with are both affordable and sustainable. Next, our colleagues over the last year have really proved how valuable they are as an asset to this business. They've really adapted well to these new ways of working. It has been a challenge for us to keep developing the sort of culture we want when we haven't been able to meet up. Being part of Silva means being accountable, creative and engaged, all of which has been much more difficult over the last year. And we want to continue to make Silva a great place to work, be able to recruit and retain the best people to deliver our vision. And we also feel very strongly that we've got a duty to promote equality, diversity, inclusion across everything we do. We see it as the right thing to do, the fair thing to do. It is good for colleagues, it's good for customers, it's good for us as a business. We've been developing an action plan, which we'll be looking at closely over the next few months, and we intend to roll that out over the next year or so to help us achieve our aims. Now, over the last 2 years, we've invested significant amounts in digital technology, and that really proved invaluable when we went into lockdown over a year ago. It helped us basically pick up a laptop and work from home with minimal fuss. And the digital services we have available for customers have also been well received, but interrupted during the pandemic, particularly on things like booking repairs, where it's been particularly difficult to manage the process. There's a lot more we want to do over the next few years to improve digital services, and we will continue to invest in that for those people that wish to use those services. And finally, as I said earlier on, we can only do any of this if we run a financially strong and well-governed business. And we will continue to strive to make sure that remains the case, so we can continue to invest in homes and services. Now, as part of that, we will be further developing the role that customers can play as part of our governance arrangements. We'll continue to work with and strengthen our relationship with the Customer Partnership Board. And we want to really see what we can do to respond positively to new proactive consumer regulations that will be coming in. They were proposed as part of the government's white paper on social housing last year, and we expect that to turn into legislation and regulation very soon. So that's our 8 themes. In terms of process, from tomorrow, you'll be able to post any thoughts you might have on our vision and our priority themes for the next 4 years through to 2025. And you can do that on our website. It's going to be on there for about a week, after which Customer Partnership Board will look at what people have had to say, and they'll be having a number of workshops which we'll be running with them over the next few weeks, and they'll look at what comments have come through. We'll also be working with a range of other stakeholders too to get their views, colleagues, local authority partners, and the like. Now, once we've done all of that, and that's an awful lot of work to do, our draft Silva strategy will go to our board on the 10th of June, and if it's approved in principle, it'll then be posted up on our website for a couple of weeks for you to read and comment upon. It's not going to be a long, complex document. We want to keep it strategic and accessible, so it probably is not going to be more than 12, 13 pages long. And once that's been agreed in principle by our board and is available, as I said, on our website, we'll start developing the delivery plans for each of the 8 themed priorities, and they will then go to the board at the end of July with the final version of the Silva strategy to be signed off. And that final version will then be published on our website. But more importantly, it's going to guide what we do over the next 4 years. So perhaps a lot to take in, as Dassel said right at the beginning, you know, we're videoing this so you can play this back and listen again, and information will be available on the website from tomorrow. So I hope that's of interest. We want this process to be as inclusive as possible. We're really keen to hear what you've got to say. So if you have the opportunity, please have a look and please let us know what you think. So I think I am now going to hand over to Amy, who's going to run the Q&A session.
Thanks, Alan.
Hey, Amy.
All right, first of all, I want to thank everyone for sending a question for our executive board to answer today. If you still want to ask a question and you haven't yet done so, you can type it in the questions panel, which should be on your screen, and we'll get around to as many people as possible before the end of the session. If you have asked a question that's specific to just your home or the particular area where you live, we may not answer it on here, but we will definitely respond to you this week via email. So we've had a couple of questions for Laura, who is our Executive Director for Assets and Growth. The first question is from Lorraine, who says, hi Laura. She says, how does Silva plan to improve the way it coordinates repairs?
Thanks very much for the question. So this last year has certainly been really up and down in terms of the repair service that we've been able to deliver to our customers. And it's not what we would like to have delivered, but unfortunately, due to the pandemic, it's had an impact on the number of operatives we've had available in order to go out into people's homes. We've needed to rely on contractors more. And of course, you, our customers, have been shielding, or we've had people who've been vulnerable, or quite rightly, you just didn't want to let us in at a particular point in time because you're worried about the virus. So we relaunch our repair service from tomorrow. So we will be doing a full range of repairs and be back out and about again, undertaking those repairs. We will prioritise those repairs that we're undertaking. So if you reported a repair before we had to shut the service down and only do emergency repairs, those are the ones we'll be doing first. We'll also be prioritising in terms of those repairs which are urgent, and we'll be prioritising in terms of the most vulnerable customers that we have. And then it'll be in a date order. So if people phone up or they go onto My Silva and they report a repair, then we'll be prioritising those in terms of the number of repairs that come in and how quickly we can get through them. We haven't completely closed the service down over the last year. We've had some periods where we've offered a reduced service and other periods where we've offered a more fulsome service. We do really, really hope that the last time we closed the repair service and reduced what we could provide to you, that'll be the last time that we have to do this, because we really want to keep it open. It's the best way for us to get out there, deliver customer service, and continue to provide the services that we know our customers want. So from tomorrow, I would encourage people, if they want to repair, to report it on My Silva, and we'll be able to give you a timescale in which we'll be able to come out and undertake that repair. So bear with us. We've got a backlog, as you can imagine, but we do have a full cohort of staff working again. We're still doing all of our gas servicing. We're still doing our electrical installation condition reports, our electrical safety checks. We're still doing all of our asbestos and all of our water checks. So all of our compliance checks are still being undertaken. We have been operating an emergency repair service, but now we'll be back operating a day-to-day repair service. So we look forward to seeing our customers again, and we really do hope that we won't be having to reduce the service again. I would emphasise that all of our operatives will be still wearing PPE, and they will still be following protocols, and we would ask our customers to follow those as well, because it helps to keep you and our operatives safe.
Thank you, Laura. So Alan mentioned earlier the climate change element of our new strategy, and Wendy has asked a related question, which is, will Silva be swapping the gas central heating in its homes for electric heating?
That's a really good question, and I think it's not just Silva Homes which are battling with that conundrum, but also it's a wider issue of what is going to replace the gas boiler, which is in something like over 80% of people's homes across the country, and it is by far the most efficient and cheapest way to heat your home at the moment. And it's something that gives you instant heat and is cheaper than currently the electric alternatives. So what we're doing, we're starting a project to have a look at what the alternatives are to the gas boiler. We know the government has said that there'll be no more new gas boilers fitted in new developments from 2025. There's a lot of work being undertaken by energy companies looking at hydrogen alternatives or ground source heat pumps or air source heat pumps. And we're not clear at the moment about what the best alternative is for us. So just at the moment, we're carrying on with, if your boiler breaks down, we'll be fitting a new gas boiler for you, or we'll be repairing your gas boiler. We're also fitting gas boilers until such time as the government says that it has an alternative in our new properties. But we want to meet that agenda for going for carbon neutral and reducing greenhouse gases. So we're investigating with the rest of the industry about what the alternatives are. and we'll be able to come back to customers with probably more information on that over the coming months and years when we know more about how we can provide an alternative which is as efficient or as effective as a gas boiler and is also affordable for our customers, because the last thing we want to do is to fit something in people's homes that is more expensive. So watch this space. We'll come back to you with more information as we find out more. But just right now, we'll be carrying on with our gas servicing, boiler and replacement programme until such time as we have a suitable alternative.
Thank you. And Rob has asked whether outdoor repairs are going to restart soon as well. Will they be starting tomorrow?
Yes, outdoor repairs will be starting tomorrow as well. So if you have a fencing repair, which is the majority of our outdoor repairs, or paving, they'll be starting again tomorrow. Although we have carried on doing fencing throughout this whole period when we've run a reduced repair service, and we've been working with our contractor Pelon to keep that programme running.
Great, thanks, Laura. Beverly has just messaged in to ask a question about developments. She says, my son has been in the housing list for over 3 years and has been bidding regularly, but nothing has been offered to him. The amount of new builds in the area would lead one to think that there are more homes available. Is this the case? Could you give maybe an overview of how the waiting list works?
So the waiting list is operated by Bracknell Forest Council if it's in Bracknell Forest, or Wokingham if it's in Wokingham's area. The local authority runs those, and what they do is they run a bidding system depending on your housing need, and you're banded according to your housing need. And then when we have properties that become available either in our stock or in our existing stock or new stock that we have developed out, then we notify Bracknell Forest Council or the local authority that we're working with, and we ask them for nominations from their waiting list. And the local authorities provide us with nominations, and then we show them the properties. You're quite right, there is a huge amount of development going on both in Bracknell, Wokingham and Hart, 3 of the main areas that we work in. And we are working with private developers to get a share of that development for affordable housing through Section 106 agreements, which is a planning gain agreement. And we've got a development programme of looking to develop over 1,000 units over the next 5 years. So we hope to be able to offer more people who are in housing need a new home in one of those developments. So watch this space. I would really encourage your son to keep bidding. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a slow process, and there is always more people bidding than there are properties available. But keep talking to the local authority and keep bidding, because hopefully you will manage to work your way up the waiting list over time.
Thank you, Laura. I hope you found that useful, Beverly. So now we've got a few questions for Dassos, so we can say goodbye to Laura. Thank you. And we've got a question from Barbara, who says, due to the pandemic, are more customers in arrears than normal? And if so, how is Silva helping them?
Thanks, Amy. I thought for a moment I might be getting off then without any questions, but there's still time for some, so thank you for that. Alan mentioned in the introduction an update that actually the arrears figure was broadly the same as last year and had been managed well throughout the year. So no, we haven't seen more customers in arrears than normal over the last 12 months. But what we have seen is a significant increase in the number of customers who are now claiming universal credit. So yes, the pandemic has impacted customers significantly, and there are a large number that are having to access universal credit that may have never actually had to access it previously. So the way that we've got a dedicated team in the business that are customer relations partners focused on supporting customers pay their rent, and they're all responsible for a certain number of properties each. They have a dedicated patch so that they can get to know customers really well and work with them on what the solution looks like. And what's been really valuable over the last 12 months is they've been able to signpost customers to the benefits that are available. They've helped customers fill in online applications because, again, it's been new for a number of our customers, and that's helped manage the arrears. and the anxiety that it causes customers, it's been mitigated in that way. We also actually support the local citizens advice, and because of that, there's a fast track money advice service for our customers. So if there are individual circumstances where customers are finding it difficult because of the circumstances they found themselves in, to speak to one of our customer relations partners, and they can refer them to the citizens advice service if need be as well.
Thank you. Okay, and Jennifer has asked, how is Silva improving the way it deals with complaints?
Okay, that's a great question, and I think we'll always be looking at the way we improve dealing with complaints. I think there's two ways I'd answer that. The first that we're trying to do, and hopefully this came through from what I said about customer satisfaction results, is we want to improve the processes that stop people having to complain in the first place. If we can get it right first time, we can communicate through the stages of a repair, or we can communicate when a complaint is in place, then actually I'm hoping that the number of complaints that are already reasonably low, considering the way we're operating as well at the moment, they'll just continue to get lower and lower and lower. So the first thing is fixing the thing that's causing the complaints first of all. Saying that, I think no matter how good we get, there will always be times when things go wrong and customers will want to complain. So the new system that's been introduced will help us keep track of complaints and queries that come through. I really want to get to the stage where right across the business we're giving customers, we're setting expectations and we're giving timescales. We're not just saying, in the future or sometime soon or hopefully, that actually we can be more specific, so that customers know when we're going to do certain things, and that we deal with them quickly. I think there's nothing worse that actually if something goes wrong, that it drags on unnecessarily. If something has gone wrong, we need to put it right as quick as we can. So they're the ways that we're dealing with it. If it does become a formal complaint, then we've got very clear timescales in place. We've got very clear processes on our website as well, and those can come through and be dealt with accordingly as well. So I hope that answers the question. It's something we are constantly focusing on, and then service improvement is something that I'm really keen to address, and I think hopefully the session that I did on customer survey will show you how we're working on that, and it's customer feedback, so we want to know when we haven't got it right so we can put those fixes in place for you.
Thank you. All right, so this is the last question we've had, which is relevant to everyone. So if you want to ask a question and you haven't yet done so, please do just type it into the questions box. This one is from Louise, who says, what are we doing to improve the way that Silva communicates with customers?
Okay, thanks, Louise. So I think there are how we communicate with customers on an individual basis, and how we communicate with customers more broad than that. So again, it's all a similar theme, which is why I'm pleased we're focusing on it moving forward, is that if you've got a specific query or there is a repair that's taking place in your home, then actually I think the way we improve with our communication is we keep you updated throughout every stage. So whether that's with follow-on repairs, we give you visibility of what's happening next and when it's happening, so that you're not having to chase us and we are communicating proactively with you. So I think that's a big part. I think as lockdown eases, there's going to be more of my team that's out and about across the areas we operate in, and so they'll be more visible, more accessible, and so we can communicate with you face to face, which will be brilliant. And like I said, the telephony system that's been introduced will make sure that we will do what we say we were going to do, and the managers can monitor that. We've really tried to, it's a difficult balance in terms of communication and broadcasting messages, that we don't bombard you with information, but also as customers you are kept up to date. So we do an e-newsletter for customers with email addresses. We do a newsletter in print for customers who don't have that intent, and that really covers the highlights. We're not able to cover everything, because otherwise it'd be more of a book than a newsletter, but they're some of the key highlights. we'll put certain updates on our website and across our social media sites, Facebook, Twitter, etc. Events like this are a way of communicating and updating, and also having chance to have a question and answer session. And when we're allowed to and permitted to, we will go back to having events like this face to face, which are I think a much better way of communicating. But really, I'm open to any suggestions where you think we're not communicating well. It was actually a question that we asked in the customer survey, funny enough, saying how do customers feel we communicated during the pandemic, and it scored highly. But if there is anything you want to hear about, then please let us know. But what I don't want to do is bombard you with information that then just goes in the bin. That doesn't work with our climate change and just sending out all these documents. But actually, if you think we're not, I want us to be open and transparent. So if there's anything you want to hear about, do get in touch with us, and we'll happily consider that and look at improving that as well.
Great, thank you. That's all of the questions we've had, which are relevant to everyone. If you've asked a question that hasn't been answered, don't worry, we will respond to it this week via email. So I'll just leave it to you to conclude then, Dassos.
Brilliant. Thanks, Amy. And thanks for the speakers tonight. So, yeah, in summary, without repeating what we've covered already, it's hard to believe that it's been over a year since the first lockdown. It's had a huge impact on individuals, on businesses, on communities, and we really have tried to respond as best as we can. And Alan mentioned we absolutely appreciate the way customers have responded as well, and it does feel like we've come together throughout this. It's been a busy year. It's been challenging, but also I think as well as delivering the majority of our services, albeit that some have had to be restricted, we've also moved forward as a business and continue to look at ways to improve. And certainly with hopefully what you've heard tonight, that's going to continue, and it is actually quite exciting in terms of what we're looking at in terms of shaping the business with our strategic review, and we really want to get your input into that. So I know these events aren't as easy as maybe doing it face to face, but it's what we have to do in the current climate. It will be on our website tomorrow if there's been a lot of information. So if you want to hear it again, or if some of your neighbours or other customers have missed it, they can watch it as well on our website tomorrow. And I would just encourage you to get in touch. We're here to serve for you as our customers, and we want you to be able to input into our strategic review. So please do follow the links tomorrow and share your ideas or thoughts with us. Thank you for your time this evening. I know it's eating into the evening, and like I say, it's a difficult way to engage, but I do appreciate it with that. Thank you for the questions. There have been some great questions that we've hopefully been able to answer as openly, as honestly as we can. And I look forward to seeing you at our next event, which, like I say, will hopefully be face to face. And if there is anything in the meantime, then please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you very much.